The Chicago Bulls suffered an embarrassing and just utterly disrespectful loss to the Detroit Pistons G-League team, basically. And Billy Donovan responded with a little bit of fire. Is it going to be enough to get this Bulls team back on the right track? We're going to talk about it all and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central, Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. And today's episode is brought to you guys by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Just head to FanDuel.com to get started. All right, Bulls fans. This loss last night against the Detroit Pistons was just utterly frustrating. It was disrespectful, and it was ugly. It is what it came down to. The Bulls got outworked in that game against the Detroit Pistons. Outworked so much so that, like, you just look at that game and you're just like, you should not have lost this game, especially when you get down to early deficit. Now, breaking things down, the Bulls lost the first quarter by 12 points. They lost the second quarter by 4 points, but then they tied the third quarter, and they won the fourth quarter technically, right? And this is why playing a full 4 quarters of basketball and understanding what's needed of you as far as the effort and the energy that you have to give consistently is hugely important if you want to win some basketball games. But then you look at how the Pistons had players to step up that just have not done certain things all this season. Paul Reed, a player that came into this game averaging 4.4 points per game, got 28 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals, and a block in this game. That's an all-star stat line. That's what that is. And Nikola Vucevic, the Chicago Bulls starting center, which we'll get on more in a second, didn't nearly match that. Vuce had 6 points and 6 rebounds in this game. Disrespectful. And after the game, Billy Donovan's comments matched that disrespect that the Bulls gave their fan base and their coaching staff with their effort on the court. Billy Donovan saying this: "We're not talented enough to not play desperate." I don't know what to tell you about that, man, but that is a wake-up call that if I've ever heard one from people that need a wake-up call, that you aren't good enough to not play desperate. The Bulls have to go into every game playing it like it's the championship. That just is it. On top of you're missing Josh Giddey, who has been your offensive identity and your best communicator on the defensive side of the ball for the entirety of the year. You're missing him already, right? So you don't have the energy, you don't have the effort. It was ugly. It was ugly. And, and we'll get in, like I said, we'll get into Vooch because, I see Jay Capone there says Billy is the biggest op. Listen, Vooch is right up there with him. Right up there with him. And so, it's great that Billy Donovan called this Bulls team out for that. Like, make no mistake about it. But Billy, Bubblegum Donovan, and I'm sorry, you have now earned the title of Billy Bubblegum Donovan back. I've been cool on you all season long. But what the hell was that coaching down the stretch of the game? For Jalen Smith over the last 4 games has not only matched Vooch's production, but he's done so with 11 less minutes. We'll get into that more in the next segment where I break down Nikola Vucevic and what he has and has not been doing on the basketball court this year. But Billy, once again, to me, it's just Billy is falling in this trap where it's like, what does Nikola Vucevic have on you? What has to happen? Kevin Huerter playing amazingly well. Nikola Vucevic playing bad. Jalen Smith playing really good. Like, it's just so many things that you look at over this losing streak of this game, this losing streak for this team that just weren't there early in the season. Billy was coaching well early in the season. Vooch was playing well early in the season. This team was giving tons of effort on both sides of the ball. And then it just comes down to this streak. And the Bulls just play like utter crap. That's what it's been. It's been utter crap from this team for the majority of this year. And so you got to get that together, man. But a loss like this, if there is no wake-up call for this team, if this does not wake this team up, the season's done. And again, I say that jokingly, but I say that because I truly do believe we're going to see a wake-up call from this team for the rest of it. There's no way that what we saw and how good this team was performing as a team, that has completely left the energy of the team. There's just no way. There's no way. Pat, the designer in the building. What's going on, Pat?
What up, man? What up? What's going on?
We're talking about this loss, bro, and how just disappointing this loss to the Pistons was last night. How you feeling?
Listen, it was absolutely lack of effort, lack of want to, and I can't let my guy off the hook because I've been hyping him up all offseason. Matas, where you at? The most pointless 21 points I've seen in a Bulls jersey in a long time. I talked about all offseason how I thought this young man had the talent. He talked about having to want to. He talked about wanting to go over and be that guy. And it looks like all you want to do is show off that you got some bag work this offseason. Doesn't look like you want to be a part of the team and be an efficient player and actually go out there and try and dominate on the other end. And I get it. People are going to say, oh, he's a second-year player. You got to relax. No, second-year players are doing a lot in this league. When given the opportunity, and by the way, it's not like the Bulls don't want to give him the opportunity. Billy Donovan is literally sitting him because he won't show effort on the defensive end. He's literally not playing him because Danish Jenkins is blowing by him easily. And so he's getting 5 minutes in the first, what do you get? 7 minutes in the first half? Like, dog, you got to wake up.
Yeah, I mean, but that's why I pumped the brakes a little bit on Matas like this offseason, where I know you were big on him taking that leap this year, and it's not always like progression's not always linear. Like Matas is still having an overall positive impact for this team, but you're right. Like in those moments where it's like Matas, you need to make a play, he doesn't always make those plays, or he just I don't want to call it falling asleep because I don't think that's the right thing that I want to use there, but like. There should be situations where Matas is both attacking when he gets smaller players on him, and he shouldn't be letting smaller players get past him on the defensive side of the ball. And we're just seeing that happen way too often for Matas Buzelis.
Yesterday, to me, was reminiscent of what we've talked about with P. Will. Now, of course, I think he's a better player, so there's going to be more with it. But like, what other opportunity are you gonna get to go show that you're the guy? Literally, everyone's dead. And Vooch played like he was dead all night. Like, that's the thing for me is you know, I'm not going based off of how I felt. I'm going, okay, you want the opportunity, they're giving you the opportunity. That's a match made in heaven. Last night, it didn't look like you wanted the opportunity. Last night, it looked like you didn't want to be out there playing or showing effort. And I'll be honest with you, there were times last season where Matas was the heart of this team. There were times early in this season where Matas was the heart of this team.
Yeah.
Didn't look like it last night. Hasn't looked like it on this losing streak. Looks like he's lost some fire. And dare I say, I was making a joke last night on the stream that, like, did P. Will take his powers a little bit? Like, did he touch the ball? Yeah, you know what I mean?
That's funny. I mean, Matas is still among second-year players. You're talking about like sophomores. He's still fourth overall in scoring in second-year players. He's up there as far as defensive efficiency too. Like he's having a normal second year. But I think the thing is that the way that Matas talked coming into the season about wanting to be most improved player, wanting to make that leap on top of what you're laying out here as far as now you have an opportunity where this could have been the Matas Buzelis game.
Yes.
No Giddey, no Coby White. Vooch was playing like trash. You know, you're playing against a team that, you know, the Duncan Robinson is going off against you. Last night could have been the Matas Buzelis game, and it just wasn't.
Yeah, it's not that it's not numbers are fine. Like last night he finished, right? He's got a 0 plus.
For people who didn't watch the game, they're looking at that stat line and they're like, Matas has arrived. And it's like, you got to watch this game.
You got to watch the game, bro. Like, yes, he's got 21 points per game, or he's got 21 points in the game. He had 14 rebounds last night. He's got 5 for the free throw line. The numbers are fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about numbers, though. There's moments in the game where you sit there and like you talked about all offseason, right? Where it's either here's my thing. If the Bulls were holding him back and he was putting these numbers up, I'd be like, let's do it. Like, okay, like he's out here hooping no matter what. Matas is holding Matas back. There were times last night where Matas was one-on-one with Duncan Robinson. Entire left side of the court is open. He can attack the basket. And he didn't go. He kicked the ball around. Like those are the things where it's like where I look around and people go, "Oh, Pat, you being too hard on Matas." No, I'm not, because you know what? Stephon Castle would have took that opportunity. Alex Sarr would have took that opportunity.
Alex Sarr this season, go from player that people were looking at like, hey, bro, Alex Sarr ain't got it. And he did wake up over the second half of last season, but like this season, what is he averaging? Almost 20 points per game?
Yeah, bro. And listen, the team is trash. And I don't want it to be, Matas go out there and score to the detriment of the team. But there's certain moments where your team needs something to wake you up. And the rest of that team was sleepwalking last night. And the Bulls had nothing to wake them up. And it should have been Matas.
Yeah, I feel where you're coming from with that one for sure. We're going to continue talking about it, man, because we got to talk about Billy Donovan and how him showing his frustration at the end of this game in the press conference, where some of that frustration, though, got to be internal, and Billy got to look at himself. But we're going to talk about that. But first, we got to get to the message from Wayfair. The holiday season is right around the corner, and that means it's time to get your home ready. Whether you need more seating for guests, cozy new linens, or fun serve wear for holiday hosting, Wayfair's Black Friday sale is here to help you make your space shine. And the best part, you don't have to wait. Wayfair's Black Friday deals are happening all month long with up to 70% off everything from sofas to spatulas. I recently upgraded my kitchenware as well. All new kitchen. Crody kitchenware is amazing. If you've ever hosted family for holidays, you know how much difference a few touches can make. Wayfair makes that easy. Don't miss out on early Black Friday deals. Head to wayfair.com now to shop Wayfair Black Friday sale up to 70% off. That's Wayfair. WAYFAIR.com. Sale ends December 7th, which is 2 days after my birthday. We're Locked on Bulls coming up next.
What truly is being 30 plus, ain't it? Just like, man, I could really use some nice kitchenware.
Bro, the kitchenware that I got now, bro, is like, and it has a replaceable handle you can move. It's all nice and cast. Bro, yeah, I mean, bro, it's that and stuff that helps you organize and stuff that after 30, you just look at it and be like, yeah, bro, yeah, I got you.
It's soup season over here. For some reason, Maya went out and bought like a bunch of wooden spoons and all that stuff. I ain't gonna lie to you. I feel like I'm back in the old country out here, like sitting here mixing these stews and
Wait a second. Which old country? Because there's two old countries you can be pulling from.
Well, I mean, everything was wood in Africa, but I was going to Italy on that one.
Okay, I feel you.
Pause. Everything was wood and
everything was. No, I think in the context of the conversation that was pretty. That was accurate. But okay, so Pat, after this game, of course, Billy Donovan talks about the team. He says the Bulls aren't talented enough to not play desperate. How do you feel about that quote, and what do you think about Billy showing actually some frustration with the performance of this team?
He should be. Listen, I get it. Everybody, I know, like, people watch Hoosiers, right? And you watch Remember the Titans, and you watch like all of these like sports movies, and you see a coach go into the locker room and go, "All right, boys, we got to get it together. We're gonna come together in the second half."
Why are you going Vince McMahon with it?
That's not real. That's not real. Vince McMahon is more real than anything. Just going after a guy, and you son of a bitch. Like that's more real. Because I know what people are gonna say about Billy. Billy, you gotta fire the team up. You gotta get these guys. You have to have them prepared to play in this game. You have to have that mindset right. If your mindset not right to play in an NBA game, you shouldn't be in the NBA. That's the bottom line for me. And so I get Billy Donovan's frustration, because you know what? They weren't mentally ready on the defensive end. I don't care what scheme you draw up. How lazy they played defense last night, it does not matter. There is no answer for laziness in the NBA. You know what the answer is? You get rid of those players. That was the laziest defense. And Haize, when they went on, what was that, a 19-2 run? I was sitting there screaming into the microphone. It's amazing how every time this team wins, you turn defense into offense. You know what your identity is. You know what you're not talented enough. Billy's right. You're not talented enough to not play defense. You know, teams that are talented enough to not play defense, the Golden State Warriors, and they still play pretty good defense.
I was about to say, they were still one of the better defensive teams in the league when they were winning titles.
100%. Like, but they were talented enough. They wanted to be like, I ain't playing defense tonight. Steph, like, shoot all day, and we just gonna shoot them out the water. They were beating teams in the first half because they didn't want to play defense in the second half. Like, legitimately, you're not talented enough to be lazy at anything. And I thought that was the part where I was I was hardest on Matas yesterday defensively. I thought the team overall defensively looked confused. Trey Jones had a horrible night. Trey Jones did nothing to slow down Jenkins. I mean, absolutely not. He let him walk past him every time. I've never seen a first step work so often. I thought I was watching prime Derrick Rose last night. Tell me he did not look like great value John Morant last night. Like defensively,
he played great last night.
If you ever are going to be competitive in this league with this team that you have right now, you have to be locked in defensively. And this Bulls team was just lazy last night. I get Billy Donovan's frustration.
Yeah. I mean, listen, they definitely can be frustrated at the effort of the team, but I do think like we're starting to see some of those Billy Donovan isms also rear their ugly head again, where Billy just is not doing some of the things that we saw at the beginning of the season. Like the rotations in the fourth quarter, to me, I don't understand. We'll get a little bit more specific into that with Vooch specifically, because Vooch in the fourth quarter of the last 4 games has
put back in that game.
Pat, me and you are basically putting up the same fourth quarter stats as Nikola Vucevic, and we ain't checked into the NBA game.
Yeah.
But you know, it's one of those things to where you make a great point as far as having the mindset. But I do think there are times where, like, whether it's challenging calling timeouts or whatever, but it just so much of the game continues to get away from this Bulls team as a team. And for what it's worth, they came out in that fourth quarter initially feeling like they were about to be a team that was going to do the late game run again. The Bulls were going to win the game. And then they got punched in the face and they didn't respond again, right? So, like, you got to find and rediscover your identity. And I think that it's something that when you're not a great team, I think there are several times in the season you have to rediscover your identity when you go through some adversity. So, you know, this Bulls going through this 4-game losing streak, I know it feels like everything's all doom and gloom right now. In reality, it's not. Like, if we're just being real about it, like, there's more than enough runway. You're getting Josh Giddey back.
Three players.
You can have both those guys back in the next game if they both hit. Like, Utah is when they were both pinning, looking at trying to return. You can have both those guys back in the next game, and then we could be talking about the Bulls going on another run. So it's not done by any stretch of the imagination, but it doesn't give you the same faith that you had when this team was fighting and competing. Because last night, there was no fight in you at all, really. Outside of that little run, there was no fight in you.
And you saw the answer. Like, dog, like the 6-game streak. How many times did I come in here and talk about the Bulls defense?
Yeah, a lot.
Literally,
the defense was surprising as hell because they were so consistent with it.
Game. That's the answer. It's not confusing. It's just not sexy. It's not as fun to have to work as hard on the defensive end as it is on the offensive end. You literally, so I would bet you, how many turnovers did the Bulls force in that fourth quarter? 7 turnovers. 7 turnovers forced just in the fourth quarter alone. You forced 18 in the whole game. You had 11 in 3 quarters. You had 7 in that quarter because you were playing the passing lanes. You were locked in on your man defensively. You cared about switching. And I will say this, to get back to the Billy Donovan part of it, like, I get why he's frustrated. Billy, you can't put Vooch back in that game.
Bro.
That is when it fell off. Like, when you threw Vooch back into that game, and I know we'll talk more about it, like, defensively, everything fell apart because the core of your defense was gone out there. Like, I loved the lineup he had out there for most of that fourth quarter, and I get you got to give guys a breather, but I would have threw Vooch in as a backup, basically. Give my guy 2 minutes to blow, and Jesus.
Wow.
That was give my guy 2 minutes to catch his breath, and then, hey, you right back in there because they're coming back. They're figuring it out again. Like, you have to understand the moment. I get Vooch is the dollars right now, and he's the veteran that you have to rely on. But in that game, he wasn't the guy that you could rely on.
Yeah, that's a fact. You know, Vooch. Yeah, we'll talk about. I want to dive too much into that where we got a whole segment to talk about Vooch and the whole Jalen Smith thing. But overall, though, to just get back to it, Billy Donovan's frustration is real. But now I turn this and look at it and say this. Billy Donovan, Wes Unseld, Dan Craig, John Bryant. What y'all got? Because at the end of the day, like you got to get this team prepared. You got to figure something out because you can't just keep things the same with the 4-game losing streak. Something has to change. Something has to dig in. And yeah, some of that's going to change naturally by getting Josh Giddey and Coby White back. here in the next couple of games, and Zach Collins has probably got another 4 or 5 games he's going to miss before he comes back. So naturally, some of that's going to change. But you gotta through these practices that you have, especially through traveling. Sometimes a long road trip is where you can really forge some more identity, and hopefully the Bulls can use that to do a little bit of that over this next break.
Yeah, listen, that's the hope. We'll see what ends up happening. Hopefully they can figure something out here defensively. We got to take a quick break to get to a couple of our sponsors before we talk about the bottom out of Vucci, man. We'll be right back right after this. But first, we got to tell you guys all about Built. Nobody likes paying rent, but if you must, you might as well get something for it. That's where Built comes in. Built is changing the game by turning your, I'm having a stroke right now, turning your rent payment into real rewards you can actually use. When you're paying rent through Built, you earn flexible points that you can redeem towards hundreds of hotels and airlines and future rent payments, your next Lyft ride, and more. But Built isn't just about rent. It's about rewarding around your entire neighborhood. Turn your rent into rewards and start earning points around the neighborhood by going to joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNBA. That's joinbilt.com/LockedOnNBA. Make sure to use the link so that they know that we sent you. We also got to talk about FanDuel here. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss out on the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to the fourth quarter comebacks. Bulls haven't been seeing many of those lately. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into same game parlays for a bigger shot at payouts. It keeps everything exciting, especially when your team is making a late game push. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. More Locked On Bulls coming up next.
All right, Pat. Nikola Vucevic, bro.
You say Nikola?
No?
I was like, what, bro?
Haize has officially jumped the shark. Haize officially does not care anymore, y'all. He just said that would have been wild. That would have been wild is all I can say there. But that's crazy. Did you just say Nikola? No. What?
Bro, I was like, wait a minute.
For the past 4 games.
You got to be balling for that.
For the past 4 games, Vooch has been averaging 10.5 points, 6.3 rebounds, 3.5 assists in 28 minutes per game. He's shooting the ball 37% from the field, Pat. Now, this wouldn't, those are bad numbers, right? The Bulls are negative 14 when he's on the court. But the problem is that Billy Donovan keeps him in the fourth quarters. Pat, Jalen Smith is averaging basically the same numbers as Nikola Vucevic on 11 less minutes per game on better efficiency. He's shooting over 50% from the field over the last 4 games. Why does Billy Donovan refuse to play Jalen Smith in the fourth quarter?
I don't know why he didn't go to Jalen Smith yesterday in the fourth, although you didn't really need it yesterday. I think the rotation you had in there was fine. I loved that rotation that had Ayo Dosunmu, Kevin Huerter, Trey Jones, Isaac Okoro, Matas Buzelis. I thought that was working. And it's not like they had Isaiah Stewart or anybody out there. I get it. You got to give guys a break a little bit there. You played Matas 11 minutes in the fourth. But to me, like there wasn't a need to go back to Vooch in that situation. I would have thought, he played a minimal. He played him 4 minutes, but I would have thought Jalen Smith probably would have fit in that moment. But whoever it was, like, to me, again, I think Billy Donovan, the one knock I'm going to have on him this is he tries to cater to the stars of the team in a way that you just didn't need to. Vooch has been absolutely terrible in the fourth quarter of games. Not to say you want to just, go away from him. You're going to need him in the season. But when you have this type of built team, you got to play who the best 5 are on the floor at that moment.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not like if Vooch was 29 and he was giving you that, like, I get that. But, like, you got to play who the best 5 are in that moment. That's how these teams win games. It's not about, I'm going with, my star players to close out the game. And I think Billy Donovan kind of gets locked into that. He's got a great respect for veterans in this league. He's going to do things the way that the NBA did things in years past. But I don't think you have that type of team, right? Like, how many times with that old Denver team was it like, oh, it might be Aaron Aflalo to finish the game, might be Timofey Mozgov. They play completely different positions.
Name that I have not thought about in a long time. But hey, he used to be a hooper though.
He used to be a hooper. But like you could go with like so many different people in those situations depending on what was working that day. Like, it didn't even matter if they played the same position. Sometimes it was a random five out there. Be like, it worked. I don't know. So like, to me, that's the part where I need to see the improvement in Billy. And with Vooch playing like how he is, I mean, like, to me, it's two things. One, when you get the ball to him in the paint, it's way too late. Way too late. Like, it's 5 seconds on the shot clock. Y'all get finding a way to get the ball down to Vooch. And then when he is getting the ball, it's almost like Vooch has gotten a little bit, like, the old man's strength is waning a little bit. Like, he's not moving people out of the way at all here in these games. So I think I think the one thing that we can count on is that Vooch will find it again. We don't have to worry about that. We know that adding Josh Giddey back into this game will be an answer there. Adding Coby White back into this game will be an answer there. But I think going back to Vooch absolutely killed that run that you were on last night.
It absolutely killed the momentum. And you have to learn to read those ebbs and flows as a coach. You have to be better at that, because, and I don't want to put it all on Vooch, right? Because there were some bad decisions made by other players in there. Like, Trey Jones has some things defensively, Matas has some things defensively, but it was
everybody has things defensively.
Yeah,
you gave 124 points to me, Haize, Steve-O, Buzelis fan.
Big Kev.
And Big Kev, yeah. Jacob on the Don came off the bench. We had Shea wheeling us waters all night. Yeah, I mean, like, it was Jesus.
Yeah, but let's hope they'll figure it out, man, and they'll get it together. Anything left, Pat, before we get up out of here, brother?
Man, appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love as always. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer.
Absolutely. You guys can follow me at CEO Haize. Locked On Bulls is free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube, the Odyssey app, Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, Fubo TV, basically anywhere you want it. You guys can get it. We'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow, y'all. Peace.